Students of MTGO Academy, hello and welcome. This is your Pauper Professor, Jason Moore, and I'd like to say thank you for joining me for this janky installment of Dime a Dozen. We're back playing blue-white control in Classic Pauper. So we're going to be playing in the two-man queues, but I've made some notable changes to this deck. I'm shifting it even further and further away from the templates that were set in the Demir Teachings deck. So this blue-white deck is really getting an identity of its own, and it's right now performing quite well with the changes I've made. So first of all, I completely accepted the fact that this deck really just doesn't want and can't manage a lot of lands and mana in the late game. It doesn't have these mana intensive plays that it can make. So excess lands is really not where we want to be. So now we're playing 22 lands instead of 23. I cut an Evolving Wilds. But that meant that I needed to also cut a plane so that I could have 8 islands with the 10 duals for the 18 blue sources. Very critical in a deck playing Counterspell. Again, I apologize for this subpar layout, but MTGO is currently down, so I probably need to change the timing of my recordings of these deck techs so that it'll line up with MTGO's schedule. Anyway, we cut down to 22 lands. We also cut Una's Grace, because when we're not drawing excess lands, we can't really pitch them to the Grace. And I think in this version of the deck, the Grace doesn't play very well with our game plan. We don't really leave up mana for teachings in this deck. And we also kind of want card draw that's going to be a little more immediate. So we're actually playing two copies of Deep Analysis in this deck. So I'll just run over everything real quick. This is a control deck. It's going to be on the defensive most of the time, and it has inevitability by way of Pristine Talisman. It's also got a ton of card advantage to fuel that inevitability, and it has win conditions in our creature suite of Errant Ephemeron, a 4/4 flyer that we can suspend for 2 mana, or we can hard cast for 7. Mole Drifter, which is part of our card advantage suite. It can act as a divination early, or it can be a 2/2 flyer for 5 that draws 2 cards. And 2 copies of Stormbound Geist as a more resilient attacker and defender against aerial threats for 3 mana. Like I said, we are playing 2 copies of Deep Analysis in addition to a single copy of Compulsive Research. But this Deep Analysis is actually a very powerful card that I think is underplayed at the moment. I think it works very well in this deck, particularly because it helps shore up our matchups against the, which I already think is a good matchup, but as you may remember from last time, they were able to defeat us. And let's see, what else do we have in card advantage? We've got Think Twice, 3 copies. And this works really well as a 3 of in the deck. I wouldn't recommend playing 4. 2 is a little bit more debatable, but I really like 3, how that kind of slots into the deck and helps us transition, hit all of our land drops, go from the early game to the mid game, and so forth. And then 4 copies of Preordain, one of my favorite cards in the format right now. For our creature removal at the 1 mana slot, we have a 2/1 split of Sunlance, which is pretty well positioned right now. It's not a great card. It's very inferior to cards like Flame Slash, Firebolt. But the white removal is going to just inherently be worse than the red or black. So I honestly can't tell you this deck is better than blue-black or blue-red control. I don't think it is, but for the sake of experimentation and just playing around, this is a pretty viable deck, and it makes do with what it has. So we have the 2 Sunlance and then splitting with 1 Righteous Blow, which is half of a Gideon's Reproach for white. Deals 2 damage to a target attacker or blocker. At 2 mana, we've got our staple, which is 4 of Journey to Nowhere, supplemented with 2 copies of Gideon's Reproach, which deals 4 damage to an attacker or blocker for colorless white. And then we've added from the sideboard 2 Oblivion Ring to the main. I think this is really important. Most of the time it is just extra copies of Journey to Nowhere, but the ability to hit any non-land permanent is quite relevant. You can remove things like Curse of the Bloody Tome, Curse of the Pierced Heart from burn decks. You can remove things like Oubliette or opposing Journey to Nowhere and lets you draw cards. Can't think of any off the top of my head, but you can remove those. Mostly you're just able to take out enchantments that are a problem. So enchantments from a hexproof deck like is something that you can get rid of. And exile is of course very relevant. That's why we're playing both of these cards. Exile as opposed to destroy or dealing damage. For our counter suite, very straightforward. 4 copies of Counterspell. A Singleton Deprive, which acts as a 5th counterspell. It's more of a late game counter. Only want 1 of those, but having 1 is not a problem. And 2 copies of Dispel. Like you see in Standard, Dispel is blue control strategies. So that's the main deck. Oh, we also have a Serrated Arrows in the main. Only real 2-for-1 removal spell, and it does a great job at that, able to kill about. The sideboard, we have a lot of just extra copies of removal. We have a 3rd Oblivion Ring, a 3rd Sunlance, and a 3rd Gideon's Reproach in matchups where we want that. Those are obvious. Also 2 copies of Holy Light, which I'm not 100% sold on, but definitely can be used against hexproof goblins. You can bring it in against Delver if you want, any small creature strategies. Also, as a defensive measure, we have Circle of Protection Green and Circle of Protection Red to try and shut out the, well, for red, it would to be to shut out Burn and to shut out Izzet Fiend, and then Circle of Protection Green for a hexproof, mono green Stompy, and similar decks of that ilk. We board into Curse of the Bloody Tome against slower strategies that don't have a lot of win conditions and that overload on removal, which in turn nullifies our creature win conditions. So this is a way to have just a recurring win condition. Inevitability forces the opponent to be the beatdown because they have to try and erase this or draw into something that can remove it. So it's pretty potent win condition, but you gotta board it in against the right people. So we're talking about things like mono black control, other slow grindy control decks. We have an additional counterspell again for mono black control and the slow grindy control decks. This is Fairy Trickery, which in the matchups you board it in, it's Dissipate actually. It's the Fairy clause is not going to come up. Let's see, what else? 2 Hydroblast, that's pretty self-explanatory. Any decks playing red, including Affinity, we want this. And 2 copies of Relic of Progenitus to disrupt graveyard strategies such as Tortured Existence. And lastly, we're trying out Outwit. This is a card from Avacyn Restored, counter target spell that targets a player. We're trying this out in the mono black control matchup because we're facing more Wrench Minds and Wrench Mind, Duress. It counters Sign in Blood, counters Corrupt, targeting a player, and counters Edict effects that target a player as well. So it hits a lot of the non-creature spells in their deck, almost all of them. So that's pretty cool for 1 mana, really great to have that around. So this is blue-white, and I think you guys will enjoy the matches. I hope you do. I hope that they're very entertaining for you. I want to thank everybody for the support. This deck has gotten a lot of support, particularly the article I wrote about it in blackborder.com. So thank you guys very much. And I want to thank you for tuning in to this installment of That's Right, Dime a Dozen. Hi folks, and welcome to this round of Classic Pauper. In the 2-man queues, we are playing blue-white control once again. This is our quest for redemption. We are on the draw, and we're going to keep. Our opponent has kept 7. Let's begin. We're going to be looking to get a blue source here, and we see a swamp and a chromatic sphere. I have no idea what that could mean. So I'm actually going to lead with this dual land. It's going to open up our options a little more. Likely just going to be sacking the wilds and playing Preordain, but I have no idea what our opponent's on right now. Chromatic Sphere with a Swamp. Oh, he's some kind of combo deck. Yeah, he's going to go off here. Probably just turn over his entire deck. Alright, we get to see what's in his hand. He's got Duresses aplenty. Just got the Forest. Land Grant is gone. So this is his hand right now. And this is kind of weird. He's just trying to go off, and I think this is a Balustrade Spy deck or something similar. But might not be. I mean, that's what it looks like. Songs of the Damned type thing. He's probing me. I'm being probed and I don't like it. So we already ruled that out. He's got one card we don't know. He's likely going to double Duress or something. Who knows? He's not really able to combo off this turn from the looks. But, when you see this much of your deck, anything's possible. He does have 4 mana, so is he going to Duress? I mean, he could take the Preordain from me if he wants. I don't think our removal is going to do anything. There's one Duress. Takes the Preordain. There's the other Duress. So we don't know anything in his hand now. And just a green left. We are going to start bashing with Stormbound Geist, but it's not really a fast clock. He has a lot of time. He did miss out on adding a lot of mana. Like, he blew his ritual and stuff, so I don't know what's going to happen here. Ooh, he's got a Hooting Mandrills for us. So this is kind of interesting. Pretty sure we're just going to remove that, though. Yeah, I think we might as well just take that off the table. So we lose the Sun Lance. And I think he might have another Mandrills. Nope. So I'm going to play the Geist just in case we draw an untapped land next turn. And we can get the full value out of our Muldrifter. Ooh, he's got Gurmag Angler. So I think we're going to have to Divination here. We'll go ahead and attack first. We might be able to win the race just because he's done some damage to himself already. Evoke the Muldrifter. We found a Gideon's Reproach, which is not awesome, and we did not find a land, so go to 16 here. And we find more stuff. Now, we can't block with the Geist, so the Gideon's Reproach is not really going to be good enough. We could cast Think Twice and try and find another Journey. But I think I want to get the 2 cards down. I want to get 2 cards in hand. So we're going to evoke again. We find a Righteous Blow. Okay. So this is a really interesting choice here. I can suspend the Errant Ephemeron, or I can cast Think Twice. Next turn we're able to kill the guy. So I guess I'll suspend. We're able to kill the Gurmag Angler, and he's way far away from casting another one. So we'll go to 11, and then his guy's going to die, even though we're 2 for winning ourselves. And we're able to Think Twice on the end step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I still think I'm just going to wait on the Muldrifter and opt to kill his guy instead. Dark Ritual. I may have to try and find a counterspell here. Sign in Blood, that's fine. It's an interesting premise for his deck. So, okay. It's kind of hard to tell exactly what else is in his deck. He's trying to turbo out stuff for his. It's almost like a Delve combo deck. I don't think he's actually playing Balustrade Spy because he has multiple lands. So that wouldn't really make a lot of sense. I don't think there's a Storm card other than Reaping the Graves, but... Okay, so I think I have to try and counter this. He is at 8, so it's not too bad. We're gonna let that resolve because now we're gonna just kill this guy. And he also has... Alright, this is getting really interesting. With Gideon's Reproach, but... I think we're just gonna have to kill the Angler instead. And hope to draw another removal spell. So it might have been better to try and hard cast that bad boy. So this is really rough here. I think we should make this play and see what we can find, because we're almost in a position where we can race. We drop him to 6. He attacks us down to 2. Or sorry, he attacks us down to 3. I'm not sure if we take the block or not. How many turns do I have? 2 more turns on that. And I can hard cast Errant Ephemeron next turn, so I do think I take the block. Alright. I do think we just chump block the Gurmag Angler. Next turn we hard cast Errant Ephemeron. We use it to trade with Hooting Mandrills. And I think that pretty much clinches it, which we're very lucky. I mean, he could have a removal spell, but we don't really have any other valid options. This is a surefire creature on the table, so if we just make it one more turn, we'll be in the mix. He did not play a removal spell. He does have duresses and stuff. He's going to 2, so if he does not find a removal spell, it's game over. Just trying to see like what else is in his deck. Doesn't seem like much removal at all. So I'll take this block here. And it looks like we should be able to get him. Damage step, and he just concedes. Alright, so we get game 1. And we're really concerned with these big fat fatties. This is just a combo-y delve deck. So they're trying to power out Angler, Mandrills as quick as possible, and then a lot of cantrips to see your deck and draw into more of those. So I think our dispels are really bad. Even cards like Righteous Blow and that, his creatures are 4 toughness or higher. Serrated Arrows is probably going to stay in the deck, but just for the sake of argument. And then if we were, I mean, Stormbound Geist doesn't block anything, but it does let us fight. Relic is not incredibly effective against Delve because you don't get a lot of opportunities to respond. I definitely like Oblivion Ring and Gideon's Reproach here. Just some of our best removal possible. We could end up bringing in Cop Green as well, just to turn off his Hooting Mandrills. We do have another hard counter, which might be good. It's not great on the draw. And then I think we do want arrows. It can shrink a guy so Ephemeron can either trade or beat it. It's kind of expensive as a 4-drop. Sunlance, not amazing. Actually, we don't want Sunlance at all. We want Righteous Blow to combo with our arrows, with our reproaches, with our blockers. We don't want Sunlance. This is probably our best boarding. This counters Duress, Sign in Blood, but those aren't our biggest concerns. We could cut Stormbound Geist and just play Relics to try and keep him down, but you see how quickly he just powers out his graveyard stuff. Like, it's possible we just want to use it anyway. But we really do need to be able to race. So I think this is actually better. I think it's better to just let him do what he's going to do in terms of his graveyard and just try and kill all the creatures he plays. In most Delve decks, you're talking about them being able to cast 6 or so Delve creatures. So we have to counter and remove about that many per game, which is sometimes a tall order. It's definitely possible. We're going to keep this hand. He keeps on 7 as well. So we have 3 ways to deal with creatures right now. So that's about half of what he's capable through the game. We can draw more cards. Looks like he's going to get a turn 1 something. Well, not necessarily, but disruption. So yeah, it looks like he is going to have some. But that's a big investment for his guy, right? He's investing a Dark Ritual, a Lotus Petal, just to get his guy. He might not even have a second land, so it's almost pretty all in on just a 4/4 or a 5/5. Now, that might be good enough. A turn 1 5/5 is pretty impressive. I haven't really seen that in this format, so there goes the Duress. So he is going to go with Hooting Mandrills. But we have like multiple ways to deal with it. So yeah, here comes Hooting Mandrills for sure. Okay. And I will lead on a tapped land. And depending what he does, he might not have another land drop. Yeah, so he's actually a turn away. He may be able to Duress our Gideon's Reproach out of our hand. Now that we have Deprive, I think I'm just going to play now that we have an island, I think I'm just going to play that. And then we can decide what we want to do from there. I think he is going to Duress us. So I guess the best option is just to Deprive that. So we actually have an answer. Oh, he's going to cycle something. This is really all in. Can also just Deprive the next creature. Sign in Blood. Okay. I'm letting him have that because if he just loses his Mandrills, I'm not sure what decks in the format his strategy punishes. I think it's maybe a way to pressure Esper Familiars pretty hard, but a lot of other people can interact with this or do something almost as fast, like not a turn 1 4/4, but a turn 1 what'll eventually be a 3/2 flyer is pretty close, and you don't have to invest as much. You know, he had to do all this to get this. And I just have to do this. I mean, Mutagenic Growth is the only thing he could have here. So we gave him a lot of information just based on the fact that we have an island. Oh, he slipped in another one, though. Interesting. So we're going to have to find an answer for that. We're giving him a lot of information if we play this Terramorphic Expanse. However, I don't want to draw any more lands, and we're already under pressure, so I'm gonna filter my deck a little bit. See if he has anything else he can do. Nope. So this is a tall order here. I mean, it's a fast clock, so it could work, but I'm hoping we can find an answer. I'm going to try and preordain into that answer. Serrated Arrows and Mold Drifter, neither one of these deal with the current threat. I think I may just Divination this turn. I mean, I guess we do have a Mold Drifter next turn if we don't do that. It's a little tough because we're behind either way. I think I actually am going to Divination. Because we want to find an answer. And we did. So hopefully we just get to untap, Journey, and leave up Counterspell. And then we'll be in great shape. Okay, he cycled. That didn't really matter. So I could leave up an untapped land for Think Twice. He still has the information that we have Azorius Guildgate, but I don't think that's as relevant as us being able to see a card deeper. Does find a land, but nothing to do with it, so I guess that means he has, well, obviously some Delve stuff, and probably a lot of spells that require black mana. So now we have a bunch of counters. Preordain, leave up 2 counter spells. Another Preordain and a Pristine Talisman. I kind of like both. We don't, I guess, need the Talisman, but I'll probably keep both, actually. And we'll Preordain next turn. We only need 1 counter up. He's only going to be able to do 1 thing a turn, so... Stormbound Geist is a win condition, and Gideon's Reproach is an answer to Hooting Mandrills, but I don't think we need a third answer at this point, so I'm going to do it like this, and if I play an island, I have up double counter, so get the clock going, and I think that will be quite good for us. Here's a Chromatic Star, which I will let resolve. We have a Journey to Nowhere. And our life totals are equal now. It's going to get Taxian Probe. And see that things are going to be pretty tough for him. He might just be writing it down. Yep. 3 counter spells and a Journey. He's got 8 cards in hand, 4 in the graveyard. So if he sacks this, he can make a Hooting Mandrills. Oh, he's going for black. So Duress. Oh, Land Grant. So he's revealing his hand. Maybe I should just counter the Land Grant. He actually doesn't have any... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He has a Chromatic Star, a Duress, a Distress. But this just gets him a Forest. And he does have a Gurmag Angler. So if I counter this, he gets a Forest. He can Duress and play Chromatic Star. He can also just play Gurmag Angler. I don't think I'm going to counter this. What does Edge of Autumn do? It just cycles. Yeah, I'm fine with this. This just gets him a forest. Most of his cards are like double black. He's on 5 turns anyway. So he played that. Looks like he made duress me. Which I guess I just counter because he knows my hand, so he could take... Yeah, he could just take Journey to Nowhere and leave me with 3 counters. That's probably the best case scenario. But if he just takes a counter, it's kind of the same thing. There goes Duress. He took a counter, plays a Chromatic Star. That's fine as well. So he can't cast Distress, at least not yet. I found another counter spell, so I think I'll just keep that. Try and bash him for 4 turns here. Dark Ritual. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I may just counter this. Because it allows him to do multiple things this turn. So, I'd rather just keep him kind of screwed. It's a bit of an aggressive counter, but he's going to be able to distress an angler or something. I'd rather just take his whole turn from him. It's kind of a time walk. That's fine. That's also fine. Yeah, I guess we could play that. Why not? He doesn't have a green creature currently, but oh well. Just let him know what time it is. He has perfect information of our hand, by the way. Gataxian Probe down to 4. And looks like he's going to tap out. Not in terms of mana, but in terms of submitting. If he does just play Gurmag Angler. Ooh, yeah, I think I just counter this one more time. We have another counter. And he's on a 2-turn clock, so it's not hugely relevant, but he does concede, and we take the match. So that was a very interesting matchup that I've never encountered a deck quite like this. This is a pretty unique brew that's powering out Delve creatures. So we were able to get out of the pressure from game 1, and then this game he was very mana screwed. We were under some pressure here, but we did dig into our removal spell. Thank you guys very much for watching. We're back for another round of Classic Pauper. We are on the draw, and we're going to keep this hand. I'm not sure if our opponent will keep. Not sure what they're playing. We're a little off curve with the counterspell, but we got some other stuff we can work with. So let's see what happens. And, oh yeah, also there's going to be some lag, so I apologize. Well, we might be facing Hexproof, and that could be really bad. We do have some tools. We have Oblivion Rings for the enchantments, and then game 2 we have Holy Lights. But I still don't... And we have Cop Green. So actually, we might be alright, but... Ooh, Bant. What does that mean? Predatory... Ooh, Predatory Sliver. It's a Slivers deck. And we can't currently counter anything. So I'm going to Preordain. Not expecting him to cast an instant. Gideon's Reproach is probably something we want. So I'm going to bottom the Dispel, top the Reproach. It might actually not be exactly what we want because we're pretty far behind already. We're probably countering something. Yeah, him being on the play with this draw is going to be really hard to beat. What blue is he playing? I don't know what the blue slivers are off the top of my head. So we'll just wait and see. He's got more blue mana than anything. Maybe that'll trip him up. Looks like maybe just another lord. So this is really rough. Really rough. Sunlance would be perfect. Perfect draw. Yeah, all this counter magic's just going to make us behind because we have to counter his next guy. We're still taking 6, though. So, it's just really bad for us. But this is definitely a winnable matchup. Armadillo Cloak. Yeah, I think I gotta counter that. I mean, I could kill this guy and I only take 4. But then I have no way to get rid of that guy. So I think I have to counter it. It's almost like having a lord because it adds 2 damage to the equation. Now, I would like an untapped land. That would be our best draw. Because we can remove and counter. We really need that. Alright, it's just a counter spell, so we just gotta pass again. I mean, there's no way he can't cast the spells in his hand, but it's interesting that he went for Armadillo Cloak. Maybe he's got removal in hand. I mean, really hard to say. I almost have to just use the Reproach this turn because I can't get hit. Okay, this is good. I am going to use the Reproach. I'll kill this one just in case he has a way to make my creatures into slivers. They'll at least get a bonus. Alright, we're going to 9. And of course we have shields down. Gross. Well, I think I actually have to cast that on the Lord and then hope that serrated arrows can do a number. We really can't afford to get hit much more. He must have some kind of removal spell in hand. I don't think he's got counter magic, but what else would the blue be for? I'm really not sure. So we're going to 8 and we're going to 1 poison. Unless he's pumping or something. We do have a dispel. Yep. Resolves. Resolves. That's not too bad. Untapped land. I have to draw. This really sucks, but we're not going to win if we just leave up counter spell. Does he have counter magic? I have no idea. Maybe he's playing Distant Melody. And we totally whiff. We're going to have to discard. I'm actually going to discard Deprive. And maybe in some world we'll be able to flashback Deep Analysis. I don't know. So we can actually leave up Righteous Blow. But depending what he actually plays this turn, we might just be losing automatically. The hope is that he just has removal only. And then we have some time to deal with this stuff. Because we're going to 6, going to 3 poison. But then I can cast my Righteous Blow. Leave up Counterspell. Alright, so we just pass. Not that we have a choice. I'm going to pitch Deprive. It's possible I should just pitch the Stormbound Geist, but think eventually we need something to win. Maybe he has flyers in his deck. So fortunately, like, his draw kind of petered out. We would have gotten run over almost assuredly against anything else. We don't want any more slivers on the table. If he had two, I mean, he would have cast it last time. So I think that was a fresh draw. Certainly killing the poison sliver. I mean, maybe the first strike one is relevant, but it doesn't seem like it. Alright, untapped land actually kind of stabilizes us, so... That, however, is not an untapped land. Do I want 5 lands, or do I only want 4? And do I want a flashback deep analysis? Probably not. That would drop me to 1. I think I bottomed the plains, even though it gets me arrows with this spell. Yeah, I guess that's fine too. Alright, so that just undid his attack. In case he is playing counter magic, I do have that option, but... So if he plays a Lord, I guess I should have thought of that. I go to 4, then I go to 1. Looks like he doesn't have one, though. Alright, we're kind of hanging in there, somehow. His draws are very weird. He's got at least 1 land in hand and probably 1 removal spell. So we'll just go with this, because we can't take damage anymore. Yeah, that's right, serrated arrows. So we may be stable. It's really hard to tell. And I'm just going to do this on his turn. See what happens. Nothing. Okay, that's really good. So now I can play Stormbound Geist. I can also Deep Analysis. I'm actually not worried about casting Deep Analysis. I think I'm going to do it. Going to 2 life. Pretty epic. So we did pitch the Deprive. Hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt us. Ooh, Preordain. Should I cast a Preordain or play the Cove? I think the Preordain's fine. Yeah, we want all of this. Even though he doesn't have a board right now. So I think we kind of like... I think this dude basically dug us a grave, and we just climbed right out of that. So that's a really nice feeling. And that's the joy of playing Control. That you get yourself in these tricky situations, and then you have to wiggle or squirm your way out of them. I think he's pretty flooded here. So I'm just going to slam Stormbound Geist. And I think he's like 100% going to remove it. There's a chance maybe I even counter the removal spell. We have a Muldrifter in the graveyard, and then we have the rest of our deck still available to us. So maybe I'm being a little hasty, but We have so many answers right now. Oh, he doesn't have a removal spell or doesn't want to use it. Okay, so we just attack. This guy's not blocking anything anyway. Well, this is feeling quite good. He might have a 1/1 sliver or a couple of them in his hand, and he's waiting for a lord so that he can keep them from getting just killed automatically by the arrows. So waiting on him, I think, like I said, I think there might be some lag. He's got 7 cards in hand. Something's going on. Blue, blue. I'm going to check. Yeah, my connection seems actually okay. Blue, white. That I will let resolve because I have 3 removal spells for it. And then if he plays a 1/1, I'll ping the 1/1 and then kill this guy. Let's try this first. Oh, it's a white creature. Whoops. Alright then, well let's do this. We'll just have to journey it. It did not use the arrow. Maybe that's a mistake. Who's to say? I think this is better. Use the 1-for-1 spell as it's intended, and then try and use this as a 2-for-1. So, just got to get in there 10 times with this Stormbound guy. So the Talismans is a great draw. We go from being at 2 or 3 life to just incrementally going higher and higher. He's very flooded, but I don't know what kind of manipulation or draw he's playing. He's not seeing any of that. At the time, it was correct to get rid of the Deprive. Now it's a card that we'd be interested in, but we do have a lot of answers. Maybe I should have gotten rid of the Dispel. But because he's playing blue, I don't know what that means. Seems like counter magic or something. It's reasonable. Getting this to resolve was really good. He might have more cloaks in his hand. Is Holy Light any good? I don't think so. He has lords, and then he also has a lot of white creatures. So I don't think we want Holy Light. If we cast this, we're basically tapping out for it. I think I'll just suspend it, but I'll attack first. So I'll have to use another journey on this, and that's fine. Got a bunch of them, and I've got counters if he can somehow bust enchantments, which no one can really do in their main deck, except for us, because we play Oblivion Ring. So that's a 3rd Oblivion Ring. We've resolved a Righteous Blow, a Gideon's Reproach, a Serrated Arrows, just killing everything. Well, this guy will be down before you know it. Whoops. Clicked on the wrong thing there. So, yeah, I think I'll cast Deep Analysis, but I'll just attack first. I don't know that I'll flash it back. It doesn't seem like it's very necessary. Guess I could now. Now that I have double counterspell up. Alright. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, we'll let that resolve. I'm just going to kill that with the arrows now. I'll cast Think Twice first in case I draw an answer and want to conserve the arrows. But probably not. Ooh, he's going to do something. Yeah, that's fine. So he's playing Dispel. Let's draw first. We have an Ephemeron coming down. Alright, we'll just take this out. Gain some life, attack. Pretty much all that needs to happen here. So Ephemeron's coming down. This is going to go to our graveyard. Yeah, that's fine. We have the Ephemeron on its way. And even if he can kill the Ephemeron, I probably will let him. Boom. Okay, well, not drawing anything, but that's alright. We will eventually. We've seen a lot of our deck. Two more hits. Like I said, I think I'll let a Journey to Nowhere resolve. We still have a second Geist, a second Ephemeron. I mean, I'm trying to decide, like, what am I afraid of here? Maybe we'll just counter it. I normally wouldn't, but let's just consider this an experiment. He's playing a lot of main deck Dispels, maybe only two. That's how many we play, so. Oh, and he just concedes. Alright. So, we know we're dealing with Dispels, but I'm actually going to take out my counters, so. Should be pretty interesting to see how that works. Because he'll probably leave in Dispel, and then I'll have cut a lot of my instants. I'll still have Gideon's Reproach, but most everything else is going to be, untouchable. We may have to leave in some stuff. I'll bring in Cop Green. We may have to leave in some counter spells. I don't think Holy Light does a lot. I think most of his threats are white creatures, so guess we leave in some counter magic. I don't love it, but I don't want Holy Light. I don't think. It actually hurts our creatures more than it hurts him. Got a lot more removal now. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I will sip some water while things get booted up. And yeah, I think our connection's fine. Seems okay. All right, we're in game 2. We are going to mulligan this hand. The Geist, I guess Geist is a consideration of something to cut, but we don't have enough stuff to bring in, so I will mulligan. He kept 7 with his 3 colors, so this hand's rough because we don't know what we want to get with that. So I think I normally would keep this, but yeah, I guess we can keep this. We're going to get a white source. This might be okay for us. We're going to see more cards, and this hand can win. And he might not have all his colors. He might not actually have the smoothest draw. And I'm guessing he has multiple one-drop creature options, and he's deciding which one to play first. Or not. Well, that's good for us. I'm going to have to get a Plains here. Some tension with this counterspell, but unless he just does nothing, I guess I could get an island, but I doubt that's going to happen. Cool. Resolves. So now I'm going to get a Plains, probably try to kill that. I'm pretty sure he left in Dispels, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, probably just trying to cast Reproach rather than get all the colors going. That's too many turns off, right? Our turn 1 was off, meaning we didn't actually cast anything, and then having turn 2 as well? I don't think so. All right, so we know what to do here. We Reproach, maybe find an untapped land. This card's been pretty effective, and I mean, it almost always resolves and does what you're trying to have it do. I'll just leave up mana. I was going to just think twice on my turn. There's not really any reason to, I don't think. Okay. So a pretty good draw from him. I wonder if he has a duel to play. Doesn't look like it. So we have to keep laying down removal spells. He does have a duel, but it's not blue. We maybe draw a Sunlance. That would be awesome. So then we can do both. Did not, so we'll just run the ring. It's a little bad if he follows up with a cloak, but it's not the end of the world. And spot removal, if you can, we can just keep hitting spot removal spells. We eventually, I mean, that's pretty much the best thing you can do against these decks, because they do run out of steam. See, he's played 3 lords. Fortunately, didn't have another one, so it slows his clock down a lot. And some of these guys are just 1/1s for 2 mana, which is just a really bad rate. Even this, on its own, if the rest of the board is clear, is only a grizzly bear. So, well, I like that. I think I'll just play it and leave up counterspell / think twice. So this is really good. We're in a really good position, even though he just got his blue source. Yeah, he might be able to dispel our next counter, but just in terms of how we've been able to slow things down. Without the removal, his guys would be all 4/4s, which is ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. So, we're going to get hit with the dispel, but what can you do? Come on. Let me have it. Or does he have another 2-drop? Oh, he's got something else. A negate. So I'm probably going to draw my land, play Muldrifter, and get it journeyed. But we're not under that much pressure, so that's not too bad. Also just straight up have another journey. I think I'm going to cast Think Twice, try and hit a land first. And now I can either journey or cast Think Twice again. And I think between slowing him down and hitting my land, I'd rather slow him down. Cuts his clock in half. Plus, if he draws another green lord, it makes our Sun Lances a little more live. Trying to save the journey is probably not ideal. If we don't draw anything, I might just deep analysis here. Yeah, so his hand's probably Journey to Nowhere and Dispel. Or maybe he has another threat. Alright, so let's cast this, get it journeyed, not too bad. We have a lot of card draw, that's for sure. So that's going to help us pull through, get us around the bend, because we've been trading resources back and forth, and now once the dust clears, we're going to have all this ability to refuel and keep playing the game. And he's not going to have that so much. He did find a lord, though. Hopefully it's green. Oh, no, it is that journey I was talking about. But not enough pressure to make us fear for our life total. Let's start here. Well, he doesn't currently have anything that is green. Both of these cards are probably good for us, though. And we just leave up double Think Twice, I guess. Or we could play the cop with no counterspell backup. I think I want to do it this way. And just leave up both copies of Think Twice. Or I guess both halves. This first half and the second half. I mean, any green creature we can almost let resolve just because We'd like to fight over the circle of protection instead. So this makes it kind of look like we just drew into this thing twice. Because I knew I was drawing that anyway, so. Interesting, interesting. I guess I'm going to cast Deep Analysis this turn. And we'll leave up Counterspell and Think Twice. Getting close to Mole Drifter number 2, though, which is pretty great. Probably going to counter whatever this is, and he will counter back. Looks like it's a Sinew Sliver or something. Oh. Well, I can kill that guy, and it doesn't change the clock, so I guess I'll just leave up Counterspell. So this is part of the blue. Giving him flying is pretty good, but I don't know if it's worth another color. This keeps happening. It gets frozen up there. He's pretty low on clock. It's going to be real hard for him to beat me in 2 games. Yep, so now we just Sunlance this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we can actually flash back the Deep Analysis as well. And I kind of painted myself into a corner. I could just cast Journey here. Yeah, I guess that's okay. Because I don't want to discard any of these. Even the land I'd like to keep ideally. And if I suspend the Ephemeron, I can't remove it and leave up counters. So I've got Journeys too, man. So now there's very little we will actually counter because we can deal with so much. So I can just play Ephemeron and leave up Counterspell next turn. Or I can play Mole Drifter and leave up Reproach and Counterspell. Yep, it's fine. So maybe I'll go Sunlance, Mole Drifter with Counterspell backup. Oh wow, he's got multiple guys. What's he been hiding from me? Oh wow, he's going for the Cloak. So I could just cop this. I guess that's going to be my answer. So I'm going to play Mole Drifter with Cop. 4, 7, 8, 9. But then I also have to activate it. So it's 5, 7. So that doesn't line up exactly right. So I have to wait a turn. We can also try for Reproach. I don't want the land. I guess I'll keep some card draw around. So as long as he doesn't have Patrician Scorn, I think we'll be okay. But if he does, we're in a lot of trouble. I may still even just try for Gideon's Reproach, but I'm not sure. I think we can just probably save it. I guess we might as well try it. He's on 2 cards anyway. Alright, that worked. This is 4 plus 5 is 9. I think I'll just cast this now. And he may go for the Journey. I think I'll actually counter it at this point. Well, I really don't know. I don't think that's actually necessary. He can Journey it. That's fine. I can O-ring his Journey. I can O-ring this Journey. I'm not actually concerned about Journey. Sure. That does not seem like... Pardon me. That does not seem like the best card in this strategy. Might I add that this guy is insanely close to timing out. He's got 2 minutes left. Here comes something. It might be a Journey, which I will let resolve. Yep. And I have 9 mana, so I can go Preordain into Muldrifter. And leave up Think Twice backup. Ooh, another Errant Ephemeron. Guess I'll just keep both of these. Just keep everything rolling. When we're this far ahead, we just want stuff to do. We don't have to get too concerned about the deep analysis, the merits of keeping it versus putting it on the bottom. I don't think we're really into that. Yeah, that's okay. I think we're actually winning this game by timing him out anyway, but we do have this third threat. We have an O-ring to get rid of his other threat, so... 2, 5, 7, 10 mana. I think I'm actually going to try and counter this. And it resolved. So 2, 5, 10. I'll just play you. No protection. Just go. I think it's actually fine. We are at 9, but we've got a lot of defensive measures here. That guy resolves. Could just leave my guy back. Ooh, okay. So just do that. I may just O-ring to get my Mole Drifter back. I'm not sure. Oh, I have a Mole Drifter. I think it's better to cast him than it is to cast Deep Analysis. But we probably end up doing both. And there's really no reason for us to attack. Like I said, I think we're winning this game just off of time. He's got 13 seconds left. So I'm actually fine just playing my guy. Seeing what happens. Yeah, we're going to win this by time, but I think we were going to win this game anyway. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. That was a cool matchup, and I hope you enjoyed. Hi, folks. We've got one more round of Classic Pauper here. We've won the die roll. Let's play first. And this hand is a little slow, but we will keep it. Seems good enough. We can suspend an Ephemeron if we want. I am going to lead on a tapped land. It's 7 cards versus 7 cards. I may just suspend the Ephemeron. That's what I'm leaning towards, but we'll see what the opponent's doing. That kind of messes up our sequencing, though. I guess, no, that's not too bad. Turn 2, suspend. Turn 3, think twice. We don't get to Deep Analysis territory. It looks like either Angler, Delver, or just Blue-Black Control, which might be pretty rough. I'm going to take some initiative here and suspend the Ephemeron. And I may play the Guildgate because I think we want to hit lands if he's just control. He's casting Ponder, so I think he is a Delvery, Anglery kind of deck. And I think we have a decent matchup there. I can't remember. I think I've only played it once or twice, but I don't remember taking any losses yet. So it looks like he's going to keep this because he's being pretty meticulous about this. So yeah, he kept it. We'll just go ahead and probably still play the Guildgate. We did pick up a counterspell. That's awesome for us. And he's probably going to cast like Thought Scour. Yeah. So he's definitely the Angler deck. And I feel much better about that matchup than if he was just straight blue-black control with mystical teachings and stuff. This is definitely one of the decks that wants to power out Gurmag Angler and Sultai Scavenger. So well, I believe I hit F2. Guess not. Didn't hit it hard enough. They do play a lot of removal, so there is the possibility of us getting a little obliterated there. I am going to start trying to thin out lands, though, even though we drew the Tranquil Cove. So he's probably going to play Angler with backup this turn. Well, we'll see. Yeah, he has backup, so we're still going to try and counter it, though. But he's definitely going to counter back. Oh, well. Yep. That resolves. If we find another Sun Lance or Journey, then maybe we can do something, but I will get a Plains just to Be totally symmetrical. Well, there's a counter spell. I was just going to tap out for Deep Analysis. We do have a counter spell in hand. I think I'll just cast the Deep Analysis. And now we have a bunch of counter spells. So we can definitely make sure this guy resolves. However, a 5/5 trumps our 4/4 at the moment. I mean, if he can play Land Scavenger, we don't really care because we do have the Sun Lands and a 4/4 flyer. So there's not a ton he can do this turn that we're too worried about. Looks like he's going to probably try and counter this. We'll have to fight back because we definitely want this on the board. He also probably has some kind of Chainer's Edict. So that resolved like nothing. I'm wondering, do I flash this back or do I evoke this? I probably flash this back. Let's see what I draw. If I draw just a removal spell, I'll just play it. Ooh. So can we race? Knock him to 17? Probably not. I think I have to try and find something. I don't think we can race. Righteous Blow lets us trade. Okay, just find a land. Well, we're not blocking, so I guess we're attacking. Don't love it, but kind of what we're doing right now. He has a removal spell. I think I'm going to fight over that. And if he counters back, I'm going to actually let it resolve. Oh, never mind. It does keep us from flashing this back, but yeah, I don't know. I think it was fine. It's definitely debatable. So we're going to 9. I think this time I'm going to leave back both guys, though. So, yeah. Because ideally I don't want to block with the Ephemeron, but being at 9, I think we have so much card draw, we can eventually try and find an answer. Well, I'm going to try and fight back again, because we're really running out of options, so I need to get bodies on the ground. But he's got more counters than I do. Oh, he's gushing. Does have 7 cards in hand. Alright. More dig. I am not going to attack. Probably chump blocking with... Oh, actually, I can try and double block. I don't think he would just let that happen, but I could try it. Yeah. He didn't attack. So maybe he has nothing. A lot of options this turn. Currently 7 mana. So I could just play a Stormbound Geist and leave up Reproach and Deprive. I could play Pristine Talisman. Maybe I'll play Geist. So I think I still don't attack, though, because I need 1 blocker to make the Gideon's Reproach work. So I'm just going to pass. And I think we're in a decent position, but we'll see what happens. So what we're going to do here if he attacks, he's not going to attack. So I guess we cast Think Twice. Now we can actually launch a pretty solid offensive. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm just going to attack for 6 here. Not just, I mean, that's pretty good. His hand is a lot of removal, though. Don't let yourself be misled here. I was just going to slam Muldrifter and leave up Deprive, Dispel. 7/6. Then I have to discard. Yeah, let's do it. He's probably just going to counter it, but if he doesn't, do I just Dispel? Maybe I just Dispel here. See what happens. I imagine he's pretty low on counters because, first of all, he's already shown us at least 2 or 3. Then for him to have chosen a Deprive means he's pretty low on options. You want to play Deprive as, kind of a last resort. You're not anxious to bounce a land to your hand. So we'll let him have that. I am going to try this Reproach even if he counters it. Looks like he binned a counterspell, so that makes it even less likely that this Reproach will go unanswered. Plus, we have him on a 2-turn clock. Our Air Force is looking sick. It's actually 10 points of damage in the air. But we will take the block and go for the Reproach. It's okay if it doesn't work. We're going to do it on the damage step, which ensures that this is still an attacker and that he can't cast like an Agony Warp or something in response. So I'm going to go for it. Make sure the stop is set. Pretty awesome. Hopefully that works. I think he's going to have another dude. Okay, that actually resolved. He's going to have another guy, though. I mean, he's got 7 cards in hand. He's got to have something. And hopefully that something can fall to a Sunlance, because then we'd be in an amazing position. But we have a lot we can do with our mana. Wow, he has nothing. That is disgusting. All right, let's go ahead and preordain. 3/7 mana. Another counterspell would do us good. I guess we can take the Mole Drifter too. I mean, it really just completely buries him. Yeah, I guess we don't need it though. We could just leave up double counterspell. I'll leave it on top. I'm just not going to draw it this turn. So I could go with Research. I think I just want to go Talisman, Tranquil Cove, and leave up 2 counterspells. Because right now, if we were to have maybe if we cast the Research, we'd be okay. But I think it just makes us discard or something. Now he's going to Agony Warp. Probably, which is fine. It kills the Mole Drifter. Buys him some time, but I'm not going to counter it. It doesn't actually kill our Ephemeron. We know. I'm talking so fast I can barely get the words out. We know we can cast a Mole Drifter next turn, so I'm really surprised he hasn't found any other creatures. Just the one Angler. This deck is so light on threats. I think it really puts a damper on their ability to win. I mean, I'm not going to pull any punches. I just think the composition of this deck is kind of misguided and kind of off. There's too many Thought Scour, Mental Note, Brainstorm type effects, and not enough actual action to draw into with those effects. So we'll just fight back here. And I'll do this, because why not? He's got a second one. Oh well. Oh, that's perfect. He is not going to be too happy with this. Well, could be the case that we didn't even need to fight over that. It's just by out of habit that I tend to want to fight over it, but possibly should not have. We're going to run this out there too. See ya. So it's going to be very hard for him to even just stay alive, let alone make some kind of comeback. So we'll bash him down to 3. And I have 2 removal spells waiting in the wings. He did get the Errand Ephemeron. Can he get something else? Looks like maybe he can. There goes his last counter spell. So we've seen 2 deprives out of him, and all of his counter spells are gone. On my upkeep, he's going to try something, it appears. Nope, just going to concede. Alright, well, very happy to get that game. Let's see what we can do as far as sideboarding goes. So, they do play Delver of Secrets. I don't think we want Righteous Blow. I think I'd rather just have an Oblivion Ring. Gideon's Reproach is not amazing either, but it's probably fine. Serrated Arrows, I think, is okay. Shrinks the 3/3 so we can block it. And shrinks the 5/5 so we can block it. Talisman, I normally would be interested in cutting, but I think I want to keep my my mana sources intact. And I would like to get another counterspell in here, but it might just not be room for it. I think maybe they're going to board into Duress, but I don't want to play Outwit. Don't think Relic actually does all that much compared to the other cards we're playing. Don't really want to cut any of the card draw either. I guess we could cut a Gideon's Reproach and maybe just play more counters. We don't want to use this ramps them into their delve cards. Yeah, this is probably good enough. Outwit is worth a consideration. Maybe we'll think about it on the play. We have 3 O-Rings, 4 Journeys for his big dudes. We have Reproach. We might be missing out on ample removal by cutting this, but let's find out. It's kind of a control mirror, but their threats are more powerful, more imminent than ours are. We play more lands overall, so that helps because they're using their Thought Scours and Mental Notes. They're really leaning on them very hard. They're trying to fill up the graveyard to get their threats. They're trying to draw into their threats. They're trying to draw enough mana sources. They're trying to do a whole bunch of things. Now I'm going to keep this. It's a little soft to turn 1 Duress because he can just take the Preordain and we probably flood out for a while. But he's starting with a Delver instead. Yeah, I guess I'll turn 1 Preordain. Yeah, why not? So next turn we're going to leave up Counterspell. Then we're going to play Evolving Wilds. I don't think we want either of these. I think we want an answer to the Delver. And Think Twice is not that answer, but it's okay. So he actually flips on turn 2. So the whole dynamic of this game could change drastically, especially because he has that counterspell coming. And we don't draw a removal spell. So now things are looking bad. I don't know what the heck is going on. Something's trying to activate on my computer. So this is going to be very interesting. We need to draw Sunlands here. So there goes an Angler. He's all blue. He might not have a black source. That could be a saving grace. Think twice. Well, I'm going to play this. We have a little bit of time, but not a lot. Yeah, we have some time to draw. I'm not panicking, really. And we have counters to protect our stuff. He missed a land. So here, I guess I'll go like so. We may have to take a couple more hits. It's looking kind of nuts for us. Now he probably has double counterspell, so that might be enough just to stop us entirely. I think we may have to play Mull Drifter this turn, and then next turn play Serrated Arrows with counter backup, because I think we need to draw these counters out of him. Oh! Never mind, I guess we could just try that. Yeah, I'm game. Let's try that. I am going to have to pitch something, though. I have so many counter spells here. One, two, three, four, five, six. It's got to be one of the counters. I'm going to pitch Deprive, I guess. And we're going to try for Gideon's Reproach. He probably has double counter, but then we at least have Serrated Arrows. And then I'm going to use Fairy Trickery just to maximize our mana. Yep, here comes counter. Oh, he used Deprive as opposed to Counterspell. Well, I'm still going to make him use Counterspell. We know he has it. I'm not sure why he used Deprive. Did he not have a land drop? Yeah, he didn't have a land drop this turn, so it didn't actually matter. Dispel. Oh, that's strange. So he's conserving the counterspell. Oh, he has counterspell up right now. Well, I'm still going to play Serrated Arrows then. That makes my decision even easier. So we're going to 3, but after that we might be okay, depending on what he draws. I'm just going to ping it now to save some time. So I think the rest of his hand is actually black spells. So let's hope that he kind of just whiffs. I guess one of them was a Gush. Well, let's hope the black source is at least tapped, because then we can Mull Drifter and leave up Counterspell. If he has a swamp, we're definitely in a ton of trouble. But he doesn't, not yet. So first things first, we're going to ping this. I think we're just going to slam Mull Drifter here. If he counters it, I don't even know that I counter back. I think we have to try and counter his Angler. I don't know. I guess I'll counter back. Because we're so far behind. In terms of cards, we don't have cards in hand compared to him. He's been stockpiling all these spells. And we've been using our spells to try and stop his assault. He hasn't had to cast a lot of spells because he's had a 3/2 flyer. So now he's just going to play Angler and probably have backup, but I think I can preordain into a removal spell. So I'm not too concerned. Yeah, this is super obvious. He does have 6 cards in hand. That's very scary. At least one Angler got milled already. Oh, and it's not even that bad. It's a Scavenger. So we can try and block. Or just find a Journey to Nowhere. That works too. I think I want both of these cards. Do I go for Journey right now? I have enough mana to cast Journey, Think Twice, and Oblivion Ring. I'm at 3, so I think we try it now. Did he find yet another counterspell? He hasn't used that many, actually, and he has 6 cards in hand, so... He's going to Brainstorm. I don't think that's going to do anything. I think he's got more Scavengers where that came from. Sure. So what did he... Okay, lands. He threw excess lands away. Yeah, he had like 4 islands or something for a while. Then he used Gush. And got this. We may have to pick up some Battle for Zendikar lands. These basics are pretty amazing. So I guess I'll fight this. And then if he counters back, I can get my Oblivion Ring. Wow, he didn't find anything. Oh well. So his hand's removal spells, more threats. And that's about it. Lands. And we have a bunch of removal spells. And even more removal spells. So we're stable at 3 life currently. So he's seen more than half of his deck, but he's only actually cast 3 creatures. So that's what I'm saying about being very threat light and all that. Totally fine. I have 3 different chances to try and remove your creature, so. Start with opportunity number 1. Looks like it resolves. So as long as he doesn't have Echoing Truth, I think... we're pretty stable here. Because he's not really showing us any removal or any counter magic. He's just got Delve Creature after Delve Creature after Delve Creature. He might have some Delvers too that he doesn't want to just get killed by an arrows. I think he's got some removal, too, for the Mole Drifter. He's deciding, does he want to just throw it off now? And he does. Okay. It's like he might be a bit flooded. But I have 10 lands in play. He has 7. So... we've kind of stabilized because he has 3 cards to my 2. I also have the Serrated Arrows, which kind of counts as a card. Well, it is a card, literally. So we're pretty much stable. I have a mana advantage. He has a life total advantage. What is this? Okay. Sure. Well, I'm not going to play around Echoing Truth. If he had that anyway, we're going to lose because I'm at 3. So I'm just going to play this anyway. I'll keep playing out my lands. I don't really care. We can't flashback a Deep Analysis, sadly. What is this? 2 mana. Probably just another delve guy. Oh, Gush. Resolves. Okay, he has 2 islands in hand, 3 unknowns. And no threats. Got rid of some islands. Sure. I'm going to ping that. That kind of tells me he probably has a second one. And now we wait. I'll try to counter. All right. I am at 3, so there is like a real danger of just not having that one last answer. How many counterspells has he gone through? 1, 2, a deprive, a dispel, another deprive. So 2 counterspells, 2 deprives, and a dispel. So his chance of hitting other counterspells is pretty high. But we have a bunch of removal. Drew all 4 journeys. That seems to happen a lot. I don't know why that is. We draw like all the counterspells too. We just see so much of our deck. There's the 3rd counterspell. He did find a Delver. So I'll start with the Sunlands. Okay, another Deprive. All right. Is it possible we just kill every creature that he has? I think they placed 2 Sultai Scavenger, 4 Anglers. So all his Anglers are gone. He has a Delver in exile. He has 1 underneath a Journey, and he has 1 in the... So I think he has 1 more Delver, and that might be all of his win cons. I'm serious. Unless he has more Scavengers, all of his Anglers are gone. That's pretty nuts. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the Delver. I think this is his last win condition. So I'll start with the removal spell. I think that's it. I think that's all he's got. He's definitely got removal for this. But he's going to mill out before we do. And he's very low on the clock. We don't have many counters left. I think we have Dispel. I think Dispel's our last one. I'll just play this too. Not expecting him to have Mana Leak, but if he does, then we got. I honestly think he has no cards left that can win the game. Okay, that's fine. Sure. Sure. See what he does with the Ponder. Like I said, I don't think he actually has any creatures left. Didn't shuffle, though, so he must have something. Brainstorm. Thought Scour. So he's got 3 cards left in his library. We have 1 basic left. So I think he's just going to mill out. I think. I don't know. I think now he's actually checking his graveyard library. I'll go ahead and just cast this. I don't think it's going to live, but why not? Okay, he has 1 more turn. I mean, he actually cannot win now. Unless, okay, let's try for this. So now we can just mill him out. And we win. The good old deep analysis finisher. So we went 3-0 this time. Much better showing for the deck. I think we've definitely improved the deck with our changes, and I hope these matches have demonstrated that. I want to thank you guys very much for staying with me, and I hope this was entertaining. Let me know what you think. And thank you for tuning in to this installment of Dime. Oh, dozen.